All right.
Hello, everyone. This is my name is Mike Jones. I am the Director of Education with the Oracle and excuse me. I'm the Director of Education with the Oracle Applications and Technologies Users Group. I'm very excited to welcome everyone to this e-learning session titled "On the Road to Operational Excellence by Optimizing Point of Consumption-Based Expense Processing." Before we get started, I'd like to highlight a few OETUG upcoming events. We will be hosting Cloud ERP Week, November 13th. So please look out for that and sign up for that. That's free to OETUG members. We are also planning for Ascend, our annual user conference at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas from June 17th to the 20th. The call for papers and conference registration will be open in December. A quick reminder for today's webinar, you will be on mute throughout the session. However, you're welcome to send questions at any time through the Q&A portion of the GoToWebinar. We will address questions at the end. We're recording this session. The recording, as well as the slide deck, will be available to OETUG members within 24 hours. And finally, I'd like to turn it over to the presenter for today. His name is Shrivas. He's with DataVale, and go ahead and take it away.
Thank you very much, Mike, for giving the introduction. All right, once again, welcome to all the audience who have joined this meeting today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you joined from. So today I'm going to be focusing on or presenting more of the customer success story, how they from an industry, hospitality industry, they have achieved this operational excellence by optimizing their point of expense process. Now, before going into this details, let me introduce myself. My name is Srinivas Kota. I'm having a 15 years of experience into this implementations, rollouts, and also some of the application developments from the scratch in the ERP world. And I'm associated with the DataVale Corp for the last 6 years now. I've been doing this cloud implementations across the globe. And right now, the focus of today's meeting would be on a customer from the hospitality industry, who is the largest hotels and vacations provider. And we're going to talk about how their transformation happened as part of this presentation. So going into the next slide, presentation. So as you all know, this presentation is coming possible with the help of the all user group members. So here we are connecting and learning and sharing our knowledge, and so that we can mutually succeed, and as well as the provide the partner services to the customers and achieve their operational excellences. As Mike said, this is an upcoming event, Ascend 2024, which is then happening in next year in June 17 to 20 at Las Vegas. So that's a happening spot. So keep your calendars up to date, mark this date, and we will love to see you there. So this is my profile at a brief. You can say, see my experience into 15 years. I've been oriented with, associated with the DataVale for the last 6 years now, and highly process-oriented and customer success champion. Moving on, this is a small presentation or gift, you can say, that you can win. Please provide your feedback, which is very important for us to evaluate ourselves and come and improve in the next presentations. You can visit the link given here, datavale.com, ERP presentation survey. You can provide your feedback there, and you get a chance to win a Pocket Monster projector. It looks very cute and good. Since it's a Pocket Monster, so you will be allowed to have this on your desk. So do provide your feedback end of this session. It's very valuable for us. All right. So let me start this presentation with the executive vision as a data whale, what we are focused on. Since this is a world where everybody is investing highly on the cloud-based products to gain their efficiencies and in all their processes, as well as they gain the scalability. So we also with the vision to give you the best out of that, and also give you that build that operational excellence and gain those efficiencies in your operations and process. As you know, like today, that cloud-based world is filled with all this artificial intelligence and machine learning products and tools, which enable you to gain four main areas where we will be focusing, like the streamlined operations, get you the operations streamlined, get you the real-time analytics, scalability and flexibility, and give you the enhanced collaboration. When we say the streamlined operations, we would be focusing on the processes as a customer, the process where you are putting more of the manual work, which in everybody knows that more manual leads to more errors, and that's causes down on your productivity. So it's this opportunity in the cloud world where you can automate those processes using these advanced tools and get you that automated process which completely eliminate your manual efforts, thus building the efficiency in the process and get you that operation streamlined. As the process streamlined and more of the cloud footprint is made, you would be building more of the data that can help you, that is sitting in this platform where you can build certain real-time analytics which can provide you better insight into what operations have been happening, or give you the full insight into the future. How do you plan for the future, forecast for the future? So it's our motto is to give you that better real-time analytics, give you that access to up-to-date information, and also help you in taking those informed decisions based on that current data. And having that data will also, analytics will also give you the opportunity to reduce the cost or losses that's happening across the supply chain area. Then we also focus on the scalability and flexibility, because nowadays it's a world where you have so much of advances in the technologies, new technologies coming out, new products are getting built, and we see that today everything is focused on artificial intelligence, or there could be more products coming in that direction. So how do you scale yourself? That could be based on the adapting the technology as well as adapting it to your business needs. The business grows, the more business grows, there could be demand for more products or the technologies that you need to adapt for. So this platform will give that flexibility, but at the same time, we provide that kind of the platform and the kind of the setup that can be easily adjusted to your changing business needs, and as well as there would be less turnover and no major overhauls. Most of the time, we see that on-premise or in the old ABS days, if at all something needs to be done, your whole infrastructure has to be changed or started from the scratch. Cloud has the advantage over that. Now, at the same time, scaling up is also a greater possibility. You can build your own applications, and the lead times are very low. So that, how do you do that? We give you can present you a plan of vision to get you to achieve that scalability and the flexibility on the product. Then we also look for getting you that enhanced collaboration between your teams. So every company or organization has its own challenges in the internal operations, communicating that information, sharing the information on a secure basis internally. So these collaboration tools or the services we are providing will foster for that interdepartmental communication, where you can seamlessly share the information, or teams can access that data within that security compliance. So this is the executive vision which drives us as a data way, and we look for the getting you an operational excellence, building that scalability and efficiency on the operation side. So going to the next, here I'm going to start with the focus on the industry that we're going to touch today. The customer we're going to be, story we're going to share with you today is from the hospitality industry. And the areas where we're going to consider or challenges that they were facing related to the inventory and the expense compliances, how those challenges are becoming more prominent and causing those industries suffer due to those challenges, how those can be overcome, or in this situation, like for this customer, how we made it resolve those and made that gain the efficiencies. We would be talking about that. And here we are focusing on the hospitality industry. As you all know, the hospitality industry is very much diverse portfolio where you can have luxury resorts to street side, or the motels or the budget hotels, where they are providing this wide range of services, as well as they have since they're providing this wide range of services and each one is different to each other, they have their own distinct inventory needs. Now, to run those operational inventory, the challenges are also paramount and they're important, like where they have to have a real time visibility to their inventory. So I'm going to talk about the inventory visibility challenges and expense compliance, but being that in the industry where this is across the globe or into multiple regions, these resorts and hotels are there is a complexity also managed complexity in managing their inventory because of the regional needs as well. And coming to the inventory visibility challenges, what they do right now, having the real-time tracking of that inventory. We are talking about the inventory, what they operationally need, which is coming across from various global locations. So it's a global market where they get the products from. And these products can be perishable goods too. And these demands of procuring those inventory will change based on the varying guest demands. That means it could be the occupancy, it could be the seasonal effects, or it could be something like a pandemic's happening. So there's various factors which are affecting that inventory. So they need to have a real-time tracking of their inventory so that they can make a better decisions in how to overcome those stock out or overstocking situations. So that's a very kind of the challenging scenario for them for the real-time tracking. Then again, as you know, like this hospitality industry where the companies will have this develop these projects. In other words, like the properties are developed and handed over to certain management companies or certain franchises. Now, what happens with that approach is these management companies or franchises have their own independent systems or inventory management systems. So the challenge here becomes is to how do you get that global vision or the unified system to get that visibility into those inventory, which is maintained in different systems by different management and the franchises. So that's another challenge where we say that it's a decentralized systems. So that's how do you get a unified is a challenge there. Then we also see that there are offline tracking. So people, some of the properties would be in locations where they cannot function on a cloud or only online. So they have to rely on some of the traditional ways of inventory methods where they could be tracking through a spreadsheet. Now, whenever it's a spreadsheet, it's a challenge. It's a manual. It leads to the discrepancies because you may not be timely updating those sheets. It's not real time. Now, this since it's offline, it's not available to the other partners or the stakeholders in that organization. So it's again becomes difficult to take real-time decisions based on the real-time information. So it becomes also challenging that if you're not having that right accuracy and maintaining offline, you also causing the potential discrepancies in reporting the quantities, as well as that leads to the forecasting or the ordering. It leads to the another situation of where stockouts can happen and you're not noticing it, or where you are over ordering because there's an inventory not reporting. So certain challenges there also happen because of those offline tracking. Then that's about how the inventory visibility challenges they are facing in the hospitality industry. But then the other major part of which is also posting a lot of challenges today is the expense compliance. What is this expense compliance? Is mainly in the organizations like this, where their properties are developed and handed over to these different associations or management firms. They have their own. It's a holding off by a different company. Now, the operational inventory will still be maintained by the corporate offices, and this inventory is distributed to those or sold in the kind of expensed out to those the franchises or the management organizations. So at any time that a point of consumption time or when it is expensed out to those management companies, there are certain compliances which depend on kind of the tax regimes because of these locations where these organizations are existing. They need to follow their local tax rules. So there is again, you will have different properties located in different regions. So again, different laws. So you need to see a system which can handle all those complexities in maintaining those regional laws. Most of the companies will rely on a third-party software, taxation softwares like the Vertex or some other, like maybe the Vertex, which was a third party, which is used by most of the organizations. There, you need to also integrate with those systems. So that's the challenge at the time of the expense when the taxes are actually applied. You need to also integrate with those third-party systems to get those right tax applied. So not only the regimes, but also these integration with the third party will also pose a challenge there. Then going to the next, inconsistent reporting because of the expense reporting might vary across properties. So there could be always potential mismatches, right? Because of the different properties reporting in a different manner. So again, to get a common structure across that reporting is a challenge, and it will pose the auditing challenges when it is finally posted to publicly or to the federal. The third challenge under the expense compliance is the fraud and mismanagement. So where you will see that most of the companies may not be very liberal on the checking those putting those regular checks or checking the balances. This poses another risk on the expenses because you might be not reporting the right expenses at the right time. So it could be inflated, it could be over or underreported. So that leads to like mismanagement in the reporting the expenses. So these three fall under the expense compliances, and we find this as a major challenges for most of the customers we have noticed. Then the best practice perspective from our side, we focus on getting you the integrated system which will be providing a common platform, unified system across properties, though they have different systems managed locally. We try to get them onto a unified system, and that will enable and enhance the real-time visibility to the inventory at the various locations, and also give you that additional benefit of streamlined reporting. Then we also look at giving you that enforcing that regular audit. So we prefer, like any companies should be, this hospitality industry, they should focus on having more regular checks, both the internal and external, so that they can identify these errors upfront before they blow up into a big major issues, and before they are reported publicly, and can ensure that compliance rules and fall within that limits. And again, if something is going beyond blowing out, you know that there's an audit fees which are going to be costing a lot and affecting the company overall financially. So that's the focus, to make sure that enforce the internal and external, and then get that better compliance under the compliance. Then we also focus on training and conducting workshops, so that the staff across these different departments get those required training and the regular training, and then they can, so that they can focus and they can achieve their productivity in their work by accurately maintaining those inventory and also reporting those expenses. As a conclusion, we like to maintain a competitive edge in the hospitality industry, must address these challenges head on, leveraging technology and best practices, like we mentioned, to ensure seamless operations and compliance. So this is on the hospitality industry, what they are currently facing, the challenges today with respect to the inventory visibility and the expense compliance. Now, the next slide, we're going to move on to the more specifics of the customer we're going to talk about. So this customer is the largest customer providing these hospitality services. It has a global, it has a presence in most of the states in the US, with providing the hotels and vacation services. And this organization is customer is a non-profit organization, where they will be transferring or costs are passed through without any profit, and even you could be considering those additional landed costs, related charges or expenses. Now, coming to this setup, like the non-profit organization setup, and also coupled with the expense at consumption, it poses challenges in itself. So when the inventory is sourced or procured from the suppliers, this is owned by a corporate organization which is centrally procuring this inventory, and then it would be sharing it or distributing it to the local warehouses, and from there to the expensed out to the franchises or the resorts or the properties locally to their at the point of consumption. So what happens, or what are the issues that are encountered during this process, or as a customer point of view, when you go and talk to a customer in particular, we noticed these 5 main issues which led to the major challenges what they are facing. As this is again focused onto the product or the kind of the process they were using at the customer. This particular customer, we have listed it out here. So the first thing what we noticed is the enterprise architecture limitations. Now, most of the customers would, if they are already on the Oracle platform, or they're using this Oracle product, you might notice that they are having those inheritance challenges. Like when they onboarded onto this product, they could have been limitations where they might have went with a certain architecture, enterprise architecture, that if you look at it, it will tell you like whether that's with the future vision, or is it just to address at those times when they went live with this product. So due to that, there would be a rigidity that you can observe, so that the enterprise architecture uh, would be not flexible enough to expand to the growing functionality or growing features on the product. So they are limited to that. The architecture of the design or organization structure will limit them from going and moving into the next level. So the same thing we found with this customer, where their organization structure was very linear, kind of a one-dimensional single business unit. So where they need to have like more of a multi-org structure, they were still having a very rigid organization structure, where with that base architecture, they were forced to use certain workarounds instead of going with the standard process, like cannot adopt those process. So they start building this custom process, which are semi-automated and which was manually also controlled. So that led to most of the inefficiencies and potential errors. So this becomes a biggest or the foremost challenge what we had to address before we go and give a solution or give them the roadmap to how to give the functionality of a few, use the advanced features of the Oracle product. So that's the first challenge we faced with the customer, enterprise architecture limitation. Then internal transfers and consumptions, always a challenge because there was not a true blown out solution. So there were limitations when it comes to the internal transfers, like what we used to see as the internal sales order process was completely missing and or not in a completely evolved state, fully foolproof. It was not there, and also the consumption of products internally. Again, when we say the consumption of the products, it's something we are going to expense out. It's not the inventory moving across the warehouses as an inventory, but it's again getting expensed out, like expense destination sales. So, which we with this limitation, the smooth flow of this inventory and services was not possible. So we have to think through that process. How do we can leverage the available features as well as do some improve, provide them the solution in such a way that you using those standard features, but you achieve the more smooth process in their getting the inventory transfers and the services achieved. And like the third one would be the we talked about the taxation structure. Now, any organization or where this point of consumption happens is the point where the tax has to be applied. And it is coupled with the third-party integration, where you need to get the tax. Now, most of the products or most of the time, this was not available in the early stages of the Oracle product. So this again led to the potential compliance challenges, like how do we get those integrated with the third-party taxation in the engines and get the right tax calculated and at the right time, like at the point of consumption. And also the challenges would be to get the charges passed back, the taxes get passed back to the expense to that properties company. Then we also saw that the inventory tracking issues. Now, as I said, the organization had a single organization structure. So these are warehouses. This customer had these warehouses locally also. They had a central warehouse as well as there are local warehouses. Local warehouses which are within the properties locations. They used to have certain, they maintain certain inventory. And also they have certain regional warehouses from there, which are owned by the corporate again, which fulfill those regional properties. So they need to they need a structure where they can see that visibility into those different locations. But due to their adapted or inherited structure, enterprise structure, they did not have those organizations set up. So the discrepancies obviously arise because of that. And also there were some offline systems, so they did not have the proper tracking of the inventory. They were maintaining either offline in a spreadsheet, especially on the resort locations or the property locations, where the inventory was not projected out to the corporate, so they were always running into this stock out or overstock situations. Next, the point of request application. So we talked about the point of consumption where the product is expensed out to the properties. But then how do the properties request those? They needed a kind of the application which can complement them, easily request for the products with the minimum clicks or the clicks or minimum changes on into the how they experience like an Amazon world where they just go and select a product and add to the cart. They wanted something like that. Now in the Oracle world, we do lack that efficient application or system that can handle this expensing at the exact point of request or consumption. So we're going to talk about how that was provided, that challenge was also resolved. In the next slides, we're going to talk about that, and when we talk about the solution, how these 5 challenges also were resolved and the productivity was provided to the customer. And here, in this slide, we're going to talk about the business challenges for how the hospitality customers. Normally, they are on the property side. If you look at the property side, you have a corporate which owns the inventory, which has the bigger warehouses. But the properties which request from these corporate warehouses, they need an application. They need an application kind of the, like I said, they need something which looks like an Amazon shopping experience. So they are in the auto world, we call it as a catalog-based purchasing. So, or a punch out kind of experience. They were more lenient to that. So they wanted like a catalog-based shopping experience when initiating those internal requests, and so that they do not have any changes, process changes when compared to their other process they are following today. And then within that process, they needed like an efficient product search. So whenever the customers on this their users and resorts or properties that request, they want to search by the description of the product. They do not want to go and type in the item because these users we are talking about somebody who's like a housekeeping user or an engineering user. They will be working through their day job is itself like doing those housekeeping activities or tasks or the engineering activities. Go fix something, go clean, or get those daily duties up. Now we cannot expect them to go and order these products as a request on an application, knowing the product directly and just key in and put the content. They need something like a shopping cart. So they see the image, so they see the image, they search through the description. Let's say they need some mops, so they just type in mops and it lists all those details, different options, different products available in the cart, available in the warehouse, so that they can just choose that item and add it to the cart. So they wanted like an efficient product search that will be easy to use. That's on the requesting side from the user. Now, the next other the challenge they also had with that kind of the process wise or the kind of how the warehouse is set up, the unit of measure, the purchasing unit of measure. they're going to request will be different to how they have sourced it from the supplier. Normally, when you source it from external suppliers, you will be sourcing in a bulk quantity, and your BPS give you that ability to source it in that bulk quantity or the purchasing unit. But when it comes to the expensing side, from at the properties, the consumption side, they don't use the same unit of measure. So they need something different to that unit of measure. So if you're stocking the inventory in your warehouse, it should be flexible enough that in your internal ordering system or internal requesting system, it should be capable of giving that ability to order in a different UM, which was mainly missing in this um, in this organization because of the, like I said, the inherited things which were coming from the previous the solutions they had. So we had this challenge to also to address in our solution. Then we also had the challenge with the location-based challenges. Like all these properties are located in different throughout the US, but the challenge, one more challenge posed was because of that location can either be a property or a hotel. What it means is a property is something which is owned by a separate management company or a separate franchise. So its owners are different, so its a company reported is different. Whereas the hotels are some things which corporates used to own it. So the ownership of this varies based on the property, whether it's a property or a hotel. But if you look at the location, it was a common location. So if I say that it's in New Jersey or New York, then it's New York location, but within that location, there could be different properties in that. So the challenge was to determine how do we determine that different locations based on the property or hotel and charge that expense to that respective company. So this is one other challenge where we have to focus when we're trying to come up with a solution and design their complete architecture design. While raising requests, so the hospitality customers face challenges in maintaining a seamless workflow, ensuring efficient product search and selection, managing UM complexities, and accurately determining charges based on location. So this we talked about the business challenges for the hospitality industry, hospitality customer case when raising the requisitions. Now, this slide, next slide, we are talking about the process challenges. So when they started, or in the previous design or the previous product, a workaround solution, custom, which was a hybrid, like manual work was there, as well as the semi-automated processes were there. That process needed them to was lacking, to be saying, to give you a clear picture, that it was lacking the real-time reporting. It was lacking the information to be up to date. So it definitely posted a challenge to get the right information at the right time. So that was a kind of the process challenge. End of the process, you have to report these details. So that they had this challenge. Then all this work they were doing, though it was semi-automated, the manual work was also one of the challenge, because it led to more of the issues, and they have to dedicate more time in resolving that. So there's a productivity down on the resources. You're doing the manual work, but again you are doing additional manual work to correct them. So it's always also affecting their closing cycle as well. Their the number of journal entries or corrections we made after the fact, after the closure, also increased. So that is a major inefficiency which we, as a process challenge, we were considering. And going to the next one is the AP/AR netting. Now, what people might be thinking, what is the AP/AR netting? this is something kind of the custom solution that was used prior to this transformation, where the customer was using the kind of a buy and sell model to do those intercompany transactions. So when the corporate is selling that product, it's a selling, but it's a non-profit organization, so it's just basically transferring the cost, but still that has to be expensed to the properties. For this, they're using the buy and sell model. So they were creating, the properties were creating a purchase order requesting the corporate, whereas the corporate is creating a sales order to ship that product out to the properties. And also this is happening in the single org structure they had initially. So when they generate these two documents, this the outcome would be maybe that achieving that, like the shipment side, they're shipping it out the product to the properties, but properties is having a separate document. These two documents, sales order and the purchase order, are not tied together. So there was a custom process which was taking the information of the purchase orders and creating the sales orders. And once those shipped out, the auto invoice process, invoicing is done, and the billing happens. And on the other side, the purchase orders were received, and the invoice AP invoice is generated. Now, those two documents are sitting in two separate applications or two separate modules. They are like the external documents. But now the scenario they are addressing is an internal intercompany transaction. So they came up with this custom process to do a kind of a logbox and netting process, which is automated, kind of generate a AP dummy check on the one side as a payment which is coming from the properties. And on the AR side, they were using the logbox to create a compensating AR receipt and then apply it to the open receivables. So the AP AR netting was kind of the custom solution that was in place to handle this intercompany transactions. And running this or maintaining this process was also a complex job. And there was certain challenges like running it on a timely basis, or getting those visibility into that. Since there's two different separate modules, you need to have a unified UI, which was also not possible. And the netting was always off, and they need to spend more time in correcting those netting challenges. Now, the next one is also associated with that APR netting, because the tax and rounding discrepancies. As we generate this AP and AR documents, these are associated with certain tax. The challenge will arise is to make those two taxes also match, so that when they are netted in the end, they are not creating any variances. But that was not achieved. So they were having certain variances. They have to work through some adjustment transactions. So again, those led to some inconsistencies. They have to do certain adjustments. So that itself was a challenge. And the adjustment invoice elimination, because of if we are focusing more on those tax variances, you need to do those adjustment invoices, do some adjustments on the receipt side, do some corrections on the GL side. So all these variances need to be eliminated, and those adjustments need to be eliminated in the whole. Then the landed cost management, what it means is like, what about the costs which are coming, or the expenses or the charges coming after the fact, when they already been shipped out, the product has been shipped out. Because of the international law shipping, there could be in a delay, like you get invoice later after the product has been received or product has been expensed out. So how these charges, additional charges, can be related to that expense is also one challenge. Then the inventory valuation reconciliation, aligning the inventory always to the actual stock was also a difficulty. So they had certain discrepancies there. The invoice AVR netting, if there are anything unapplied receipts are there, then you have to again address them manually. Then you have the inventory control issues. What if that expense has to be returned? So there was always a challenge, like how do you control that? there was very much manual process required. Like you have to undo everything, the billing, the shipping, the receiving in the old process. So there were again a lot of time spent on that side. And then the direct or drop ship challenges. So this is specific to the case where if the product is directly coming from the supplier, if it has to go to the final destination, then that's again the dropship process was also one thing which needs to be built in. So in essence, these challenges highlight the complexities in financial reporting, inventory management, and shipment process, which emphasizing the need for streamlined system and accurate data management. And this is where we can come in and we build a model. The process or the solution we gave is addressing all these core challenges in a kind of the two-way approach. First approach was to get their organization structure, the enterprise structure organized in a better manner. Now, when I see the old structure, it was all one single business unit structure, and only one single organization was there. What we have to do as a first step was to get them the ability to expand or separate give them the ability to represent those two ownership companies on this organization chart. So what we did is we expanded this structure. We brought in this new business unit, like the properties business unit, which represents the properties which are owned by different management companies or different franchises. This properties business unit will separate that from the corporate business unit, and it will function as a separate company in itself. So what will this also add is the visibility into that organizations, the properties which are outside the corporate. You can map it here. And then the second approach was to use the standard functionality. Now, everybody from the Oracle world would be understanding what is an IMT process, internal material transfer process. And that process is so much evolved over a period that you can see that there is a intercompany invoicing that can be generated, which is coming as standard. So this idea to expand this business unit gives them opportunity and gives the ability to use that standard functionality. So we were able to get by separating these companies, we were able to get that intercompany invoicing process into picture. And then we also added this corporate warehouse. Like the corporate warehouse, we added all those corporate warehouses which were not initially not listed. We added those all warehouses. And again, the good thing is by bringing in those organizations, we also brought in the standard internal transfer process into picture. So this again eliminated all those challenges which they have with respect to the trackability or inventory trackability or in reporting. That has been eliminated. Everything from here on will flow through the system, and system records every event, and it has the ability to real-time report it. So that way we are also bringing in the data analytics or the analytical tools to report it out, and any user from any area, inventory or the finance side, they can report the actual inventory, the actual value of the inventory. They can easily identify the errors where they're seeing, and this is also giving them the data to analyze and take a proper informed decisions for the future. So the process wise, I'll just quickly go through like it's a simple what we for as a warehouse to warehouse transfer. It's more of the internal request that will be put by an inventory manager, which creates a transfer order with the corporate warehouse or the source organization, and then they will be shipping out against this transfer order and received at the respective properties warehouse. Now the second leg, where the properties were requesters, or the request would be coming when they, this is kind of the point of consumption point, or the request which would be put in by the property requester. And for them, we have provided that enable that catalog based requesting. So it's a very quick process. They can just put those items, select the items, put it on the card, and that done. The request is done. It in the background, it runs through the transfer order, it creates the shipment, and they can immediately receive that product. So that this all automated and made such a way that it reflects, or it represents a kind of a counter sale scenario. So there were some improved, or the developments we did, where they can automate this process, and the shipment will be immediate. So they achieved this with the help of this new approach, expanding their architecture, as well as the expanding this process. Adapting to the standard processes with the advanced custom solutions which we have provided, which have automated this process, and they achieve that point of sale or point of consumption system, and which benefited in the requesting as well as to the fulfillment. Here on this one particular slide, we are giving that how the cloud platform journey happened with the customer. They started in 2016. So that was the early stages of the Oracle Fusion product with limited functionalities. So they have to go with certain inherited or kind of the enterprise architecture, which limited them to utilize the product to the extent, as well as cause all those process challenges, which we over a period were able to address it. And today they with the transformation go live, they have benefited, or the evolution of the product also helped in resolving all these pain points and the challenges, and achieve a greater success and operational excellence. So this lists all the events happened, like whatever the transport process enhancements that went in because of the limitations. They have to go in with some custom solutions, semi-automated, which led to that netting functionality, building of those netting functionality. But again, that also had some downside to it, like the disadvantages, which were the challenges we overcome with the business process transformation project. And we went live in July, so that's another success here for the customer. And again, this is a continuous journey, which is not ending here. Tomorrow, if there are more, as the cloud grows and the more functionality is added, we'll try to get the customer adapted to that functionality and see more benefits. They can get more benefits out of it. And the productivity wise, or it could be the financial wise, the journey will continue. And you can see that how they were in the 2018 when the ARC13 came in. 30% was the accuracy, and then by the custom solution they had the 60%. So there was a good benefit out of that transformation, but again, the challenges were finally overcome, and today we are seeing a 95% of that excellence, the productivity they have gained through this transformation project. And like we said, we're going to continue, and this journey will be continued, and much more benefits they can get from this product. Again, excellence is not a destination, it is a continuous journey that never ends. It's a famous quote by Brian Tracy. Just here to reiterate the journey. Okay, now going to the next slide, this is more of the benefits. So where we started with this customer, where we identified the challenges, and all these challenges, whatever the related to the inventory, the visibility, the tracking related, trackability, the process times were improved, Their lead times, they used to have like a 2 days lead time, but now it's like immediate. So that's another bigger advantage. So they have better shipment planning because they can see the demand immediately coming in. They can just go and plan those shipments, and they have the more efficiency fulfillment tracks. So that's another, the biggest advantage they see. And also the, like everything is controlled under the Fusion application, and it's a unified system. So they have the reduced stockouts and overstocking. So it immediately shows up you the uh, on-hand availability, even for the requesters or the property requests coming in. They are based on the real-time on-hand availability at the source warehouse. So the user not only able to see that whether the stock is available, he can order based on that, and even the managers can see that if there's something going on the back order, they can immediately plan for it. That's the overall, it is reducing the supply chain cost, building the operational efficiency, as well as the optimum in inventory turnover times, and the cash flows are improved. Then the biggest achievement is the better customer experience and satisfaction. All these properties which are owned by different management companies are still uh, a customer to, though the organization as a hospitality industry, though it's a one organization, but still independently these all properties are individual customers. Their customer satisfaction is paramount. And today, with this transformation, we were able to achieve that 100% customer satisfaction, and the experience they are seeing is improved. Earlier, if the struggle was like 100%, then today that is reduced to 10%. The struggle is not there anymore. There is a 10% we say because we still need to improve on that request, the requesting side. There are certain things which again Oracle is also have as the development ideas which are on the roadmap for the next upgrades. So after that features available comes into availability, then that 5% also can be ruled out, and we can achieve the 100% success with the customer experience. Then we have the systematic inventory controls, since we have the unified system. So people from anywhere, the top leadership can look into that and ensure that they have a systematic controls as well as the consistent controls across the board. Irrespective of the which warehouse location, it doesn't matter. You have systematic and consistent. Then you have the reduced month-end close processing. Like I said earlier, they used to run through this process like over a 5-day period for closing, and then at least a kind of the 10 to 20 days to correct on those corrections, adjustments, and post those journal entries. Now this is reduced to 2 days, less than 2 days. So nothing, no more. I'll take pride in mentioning this. There are no manual journal entries or correction entries today. So this is the biggest achievement of this project for the customer, and they echo it, and they see that immediate benefit, and their financial close efficiency is increased a lot. And the reporting, the kind of the reporting that are coming out of those the process they're following now, it's overwhelming for them. Like they never had this before, and since seeing that data coming in front of them, it's more happy joyfulness for them as a customer. All this reduction of the manual work, again, that's something very much improved. And then finally the scalability. What this means is we are giving a platform, we have given that organization structure, which enables them to go and add any more organizations or expand as the business grows. They can expand it, and even the turnover for this configuration is very less. It's quick compared to the old process where it's completely a project, implementation project has to be done to get that achieved. But here, it's the kind of the process leads can do it themselves. From the benefits, I will move into the key to success. These are something which we observed during this implementation with the customer. We thought sharing this few key points to achieve that success with any customer. So starting with raising the scope. This is something like any project which starts with the scope definition and the scope aligning, making sure that we align to that scope. But what we have done differently is we made sure that the project scope is defined. They write the customer writes the scope, as well as they align. There is no more changes unless it is something like the design wise. We have a discussion and there is a small changes related to the design or some discussions coming up, or where we have looking at the future perspective and we have to change it. That's the only change we allowed. But otherwise, from the starting of the project, we kept to a scope which is all finalized and approved. So that will leave the any deviate from the scope will cause you that the scope creep, and also the estimation, the planning will go beyond what you earlier planned. So it's better to have a scope freeze in the initial stages would be the better. Then engaging stakeholders. This is again the important fact. Normally, any implementation or the organizations, the customer side, the people will be serious when it comes to when they realize the criticality or the importance of those sessions only when it is in the UAT. It's just before the approval. When they are supposed to approve it, they see the seriousness, and they try to understand. They go in and they try to check the process whether they are correct or not. But that is too late in the project phases. So we recommend having that business users or the process leads to be part of this engagement up in the beginning phase, where we start with the scope. They need to drive it, and we make them the ownership of those process, and they are starting understanding the process, and even they are made part of this design sessions where they need to and then not only understand this process, they have to foresee what's in their business area, business operations area. What do they see as the any roadblockers or any showstoppers? They have to report it at that time. So that brings in the interest from the beginning, and by the time you go to the UAT, it's all foolproof, and it's only that execution part which can be immediate. The next one I like to emphasize is the identifying the process leads. This again goes with the project to project. It has to be identified, like who will be the process leads, who will be taking those ownership on this process, and who will be trained for their roles, and they would be the trainers for going to their business team. Then the implementation strategy. Every business is unique, so sometimes we cannot say that one unified methodology can be applied there, or we cannot say that one planning method would be enough for that. So you have to come up with maybe a hybrid approaches based on the kind of the solutions you are giving. And then the continuous adaptation. So this is a continuous adaptation. When I say we are talking about this cloud journey, cloud is with continuous improvements, continuous features getting added. So it's a continuous journey. So you need to look out for those what's coming in every release and see what's the benefits you can give to the customer by adapting those. So even from the customer point of view, they should be ready to adapt, as well as a service provider, we should also be looking for those opportunities and let the customer take the advantage of it. So that's a continuous adaptation, which needs to be focused on during the implementation. So these are some of the key to success in the implementation projects. And that's the final slide on the presentation. I'm going to show this another, I'm going back to this, the goodies. So do let us know your feedback, how you feel about my presentation today, or Datavel as a core organization, how you feel in this presentation. Let us know your feedback. It's very important for us. We have this project, Pocket Monster projector that you can win. Do share us this feedback on this database link. All right. So we finally into this question section, and here is my information. If you have any questions after this call meeting, also you can reach out to me at this email ID and my phone number here.
All right, thank you very much. I'm not seeing any questions. I know we're a little bit over time, so we'll go ahead and conclude the webinar. Thank you very much. Everyone have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining today. Bye-bye.